Welcome back. Well, that was the Hangout, different perspectives on the Sustainable Development Goals. We're back in the studio. We're being joined by Hamzat Lawal. He's the Chief Executive of Connected Development. Hamzat, thanks for coming on the program.
It's always a pleasure.
Talking about connected development now, I mean, we're trying to look at the Sustainable Development Goals, but how does it connect to the Millennium Development Goals, first and foremost?
Well, definitely, when we're connecting, we have to look at where we're coming from. What have we done in the past 15 years under the Millennium Development Goals? And how has citizens engaged in this platform? Because it's really important for us to document what has happened and how can we work towards our challenges in now inculcating that knowledge into the Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay, so how was it? I mean, because I know a lot of money went down in the MDGs. Is there a record? Is there like a figure that was spent? And is there a projection of what will be spent looking at now the SDGs?
No, there was no specific figure on how much Nigeria spent on implementing the MDGs. But there is now discussion around how much would the SDG cost to Nigeria. And this is something our team at Follow the Money is looking at. How can we visualize using data on what will be spent and then visualize this data on if we spend this amount of money in the next 15 years, where would Nigeria be?
What would be the results?
So that citizens can know and start holding their government to account and holding, their representatives to account on ensuring that they use this money in a transparent and accountable manner.
All right, so the SDGs, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about it, 17 goals, I think 198 or 96?
169 targets.
69 targets. How do we achieve this in Nigeria?
Well, it's quite exciting that we have a global goal, like we call it, that is being agreed by over 190 countries. But for Nigeria, we have to first of all look at what is our priority as a country. Also, it's important to popularize the SDG, because on the street, when you ask citizens, SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, they look at you like, what are you saying? So it's very important that our government, civil society, most importantly private sector, because we've now seen the importance of the private sector in terms of creating jobs and investing in infrastructural development in Nigeria. So we need to popularize the SDGs. And looking at priorities, we need to look at what we can address that would now create an enabling environment for the actualization of the SDGs. We need to look at the power sector. And Nigeria is experiencing a silent energy crisis.
What do you mean by that?
Annually, we lost 95,000 women from indoor air pollution, just from cooking with firewood.
Wow.
And also, the government has now stipulated that they would create 30% of our energy need from coal power. This is disastrous. Because,
how so?
Because coal power over time, now we're talking about reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And now we're investing in coal. Yes, we know we have an energy need and we need to fill that gap. And it's important to note that today, 60% of Nigeria are not connected to the national grid. So it's only 40%. And even these 40% are not where they don't utilize this power.
What is your source? I mean, 60% not connected to the national grid?
We have the Electricity Regulatory Commission. Yeah, the statistics are out there. So again, for us to actualize the SDGs, we need to put in place infrastructure in terms of providing sustainable energy. And of course, poverty. We need to look at how we can reduce poverty. And most importantly, we need to create jobs for the team in unemployed young people.
Okay, talking about diversifying economy and also talking about renewable energies and all that. The COP21, I mean, the climate change, in Paris. I mean, how does it help Nigeria's cause now in wrapping up this conversation? Well,
it's pretty exciting that Nigeria shaped the outcome of that conference and we had a global agreement whereby $100 billion has been committed. In the past, money has been committed in Warsaw, that's in Poland.
Yeah.
But again, it's important to understand that world leaders need to tell us where this money is coming from, where is it going to be housed, what is the framework to access this money, how can Nigeria access part of this $100 billion, and what are their accountability mechanisms? Because it's important to also provide data on how effective these international resources are being utilized. And lastly, we have an environment minister who was an advisor to the then president on MDGs, and now was an undersecretary to Ban Ki-moon on SDGs. She was one of the front runner on actualizing the SDGs.
That's right.
And now she's a minister of environment. For me, I see the environment ministry as the most important ministry in Nigeria, because if we have a vibrant environment ministry that is able to harness different MDAs in the private sector, academia, media, and young people, we now have a platform, an enabling environment for every sector to strive. I want to believe that our environment ministry would see her ministry as very important and will carry everyone along. I want to quote her. She said just recently, no one would be left behind.
Well, I guess we'll have to end on that note. Again, I'll repeat what she said. She said, no one will be left behind. Hamzat Lawal, Chief Executive, Connected Development. It's a pleasure having you on the program today. Thanks for coming on board and sharing your thoughts. All right, that's where we are. We take a quick break, and when we return, we'll be looking at your comments as well as reviewing the 5 most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week. Please stay with us.
This week's most viewed videos begins with the nullification of the entire Akwa Ibom State governorship election by the appeal court. It takes the 5th spot. In 4th position is another pronouncement by the appeal court, this time nullifying the election of Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike as governor of the South-South oil-rich state. Coming in 3rd is the arrest of the former Director General of NIMASA by operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over money laundering charges. The video of followers of the leader of the Islamic movement of Nigeria, Sheikh Zakzaki, protesting against the killing of their members takes 2nd spot.
Executive Secretary. Thank you, sir.
And topping the charts this week is the video of the Nigerian Army formally writing a petition to the National Human Rights Commission over the attack on the Chief of Army Staff.
All right, those were the comments that you sent and also the videos that you watched the most in the past week. But now, though the SDGs are designed to continue where the MDGs left off, the universal framework will have to be tailored to national circumstances to live up to its promise to be an agenda of the people, for the people, and by the people that leaves no one behind. We draw the curtains on this note, but as always, continue on the social media addresses showing on your screen. I am Victor Matthias. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.